Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the TV Tray Sessions here at Guitar Talk with Todd at Todd Beebe Music. Thank you guys so much for checking in today. Please hit that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. You know I appreciate it. As always, we are powered by Death Wish Coffee, Valhalla Java. We love our Death Wish around here, so grab a cup, drink up, and join us. Delicious. Today we're going to be talking all about changing a guitar string. So are you guys changing your strings and you've been told to do the fancy Luthier's knot, I've heard some of them called and whatnot? My opinion is stop doing that. It doesn't really do anything. Use bigbendsnutsauce and some other things we're going to talk about here that are going to help you out. Just do a straight shot, get those windings around the post nice and tight, stretch out your strings, and you're good to go. Stop doing Boy Scout knots that are taking you 45 minutes to get your string off when it breaks. Now, there's like 50 million videos out there on it, and there's actually 50 million ways you can do it. Acoustic guitar and electric guitar are a little bit different beasts. A lot of the stuff is the same, but a lot of the stuff isn't. So today we're going to focus on an acoustic guitar. This is a Martin D28. We're going to put new strings on. I am going to be using my favorite strings in the world, 12 to 53 Daddario nickel bronze. If you guys haven't checked them out, pick up a pack. I swear to God, these are the greatest strings ever made. Daddario nickel bronze acoustic guitar strings. Just unbelievable. The tone on these things are just fantastic. I've noticed I get longer life out of them too, and they just ring out nice and true. So we're going to be putting those on today. We're going to be using Big Ben's nut sauce. I'm going to do a whole separate video on putting the nut sauce up in the nut the proper way, but you will see me put it here on the saddles, which I always do too, to reduce friction before I cross over that with the new string. Some other cool things we're using here. We're going to have the musicnomad grip puller that, this is for getting your pins out if you need to, which isn't a big deal, but I love musicnomad stuff. Check them out at musicnomadcare.com. They're a phenomenal company. And while we're on that note, we're going to be using my favorite string winder, string cutter in the world, the musicnomad Grip 1 winder, cutter, and puller. This is just a fantastic, my favorite one. It's got the extra huge bearing on there, and it just makes changing strings so much easier. It's got the cutter built in. I know there's other ones like this, but they have the wimpy, as I like to call it, bearing on there, and it kind of just doesn't. This is real nice. It turns easy. It's like effortless. So definitely check out Grip 1 from Musicnomad and all their stuff. They're a fantastic company as well. We're also going to be using the Snark Rechargeable, which is fantastic to, check our tuning. This is what I use at all my shows too. So, like I said, there's a couple different ways to change a string. A few years back now, I remember reading an interview with, and I believe it was Keith Urban's guitar tech. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to be getting an email from from Keith Urban's guitar tech saying I never said that, because maybe he didn't, but I think it was Keith Urban and his guitar tech that said they don't like the fancy knots on the strings. To me, that all started, and a lot of techs and luthiers are coming out and saying that now that they agree. Tuning problems have always obviously been going on since people started playing guitar, and right away the thought was, well, if we do this, go under, loop it back, kink it, pull it towards you, wrap around 3 times, go back over here, a Boy Scout knot ultimately on the tuning peg, it's going to keep it from slipping. It doesn't hurt. But man, like I was saying, a lot of techs are saying they, Keith Urban, whoever breaks a string, they want that guitar back ASAP. Their tech's got to get that string off in the blink of an eye. They can't be back there you know, reading the Boy Scout manual on how to get this string off, and some of those knots are ridiculous. You know, I gotta go under, pull it back. Even if you're cutting it, it's still gotta come off from around the peg. So I don't believe any of those knots do anything except help you take longer to get the string off. So to me, the string should be totally flush to the peg, nothing around, and just wrapped as clean as can be right around there. And that's kind of what you want to go for. And I think that's, you know, like I said, the tuning problems. Big Ben's Nutsauce solves a lot of that because you're getting bound up in the nut. There's a problem somewhere else if you're having tuning problems like that. It's not because you need to do a fancy knot or whatever on the tuning pegs. I don't believe that. Go ahead and comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, it's certainly not going to hurt, but it's a waste of time. Not only doing it, but you're wasting your time getting the strings off because it takes you that much longer. I just don't think that does anything. So the way I'm going to show you today is the way I've done it for years. The only other thing I want to mention is some people have always, we've all heard the rumor, don't take them all off at once, or if you cut the strings and it's tuned to pitch, you're going to damage the neck. Again, comment below. I have played guitar since I was 12 years old. I've been doing this a long, long time, and I have never seen any actual physical evidence of that. I've heard the stories, and there's a million of them. Oh yeah, he ruined his neck, and I've never actually seen a physical result of that. If I do, I'll of course talk about it on here and tell everybody to stop, but you know, a truss rod and a guitar neck, the tension from the strings, it's made to withstand that. So just clipping the strings off is not gonna really do any damage, and I've never seen it. That being said, I change one at a time. I've just always done it that way, so I'll do the top one, get it all on, do the fifth, get it all on, do the fourth. I've just always done it that way, and hey, why rock the boat if you're not having a problem, right? But you know, I do think you could take them all off, put them all back on. It's not a big deal. But anyway, let's get into it here, you guys. Changing strings. I'm going to change the angle here and zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. And let's get into it here. Here we go. Okay, guys, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the old strings on this D28. So the first thing I do, put this on here, and we want to, you know, unwind, get that old string kind of just loose. I just get it to the point where it's loose. I don't go the entire way off the peg. Okay, now when I'm done with that, let's actually aim down here at the bridge. Okay, so for the bridge, usually this will come out right pretty easy, but I do have the Musicnomad grip puller, which we're also going to do a review on. I love Musicnomad. You just put it right on, it locks right in, you pull it up, and it's like effortless. I'm dropping the pin because I'm clumsy, but if you don't do that, it just comes right out in the puller, so it's real easy to work with. Okay, so now we've got this string off, and like I said, now that it's loose, I just turn it like that. We're done. Many people use fancy knots and stuff. I've heard of the Luthier's knot. I don't really know what that means. I know many luthiers, and they don't all use that knot, so I'm not really sure where that term came from. But, you know, I think it was Keith Urban's guitar tech once said that he doesn't like to use fancy knots because if he's got to get that string off in a hurry, it holds him up. I completely agree. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. But a lot of times the knots and all that, I think, are just a result of people trying to get the string to quit slipping, and that's not really the problem. There's binding going up here in the nut or possibly at the bridge, but more than likely here at the nut. And that's where those fancy knots all came from, to try to tie it and keep it. It doesn't hurt, but I don't really think it helps. And as I was saying, I've read from a couple of other techs that say that that's just a pain to get those off, especially if you're in a hurry. Okay, so I'm using daddario nickel bronze. I'm sorry, daddario. I always pronounce it wrong. I think many of us do. 12 to 53s are my favorite strings. Try them if you have not. And as most of you know, daddario strings are color coded, so the ball ends kind of tell you what string you're going to be using. Okay, so we are going here for the brass right out of the gate, and we're going to do the 6th string here. What I always do on an acoustic guitar, and I'm going to do this on all the strings and keep this on as we're restringing, but I'm just going to do one string here real in depth, and then it's pretty much just a carbon copy after that. So what I do on the notched, strings, wound strings here, the thicker ones, I always look for the notch that's pointing up at the end there above the ball end, and then I just kind of curve it over my thumb a little bit and put a little, nothing crazy, but just a little bit of a curve there that's going to kind of go with the angle that you're going to have coming up off of the bridge. Okay, so before we put this string in, though, we are going to use Big Ben's Nut Sauce. Do I have this upside down? Yes, I do. So check them out. I love Big Ben's Nut Sauce, and always tell people to put that on all their guitars. Any contact points with the strings. Okay, so coming down here, you want to put just a dab on there. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit that's going to kind of be right where the string sits, going across there in the saddle. Okay, so now that that's in there, we're going to take this string, we're going to put it down right into the hole right there. And what you want to do is you want to kind of put the pin on top of it as it's going down in. And you should kind of feel the pin slip under, or over rather, the ball end. And that's exactly how you want it. And that's pretty much just it. Just push it with your thumb gently. What holds this in place is the pressure and the tension on the strings. You don't need to go crazy and be ramming this down in with pliers or anything. You can actually do a lot of damage doing that, so that's fine. Okay, now we are going to come back up here to the headstock. Now we're going to put this through, obviously through the peg. Tuning peg, come through. This is where everyone makes their big mistake. They just pull this tight and put it into the nut right here and tighten it up. Well, you're going to go around maybe half a turn on the tuning peg, and you're going to be tuned to pitch, and you need more windings than that. So what I do is I put my hand right here and let the string go over. And then I take this loose end, pull it back towards me, and just kind of look at which way the rest of them are going around the pegs. We want this to go this way, because that's how these two are on this side of this Martin. Okay, now I'm pulling this loose end back. I'm going to hold it with my hand, and this is the real important part. You want to keep tension on that. You don't just want to casually hold it. Go ahead and pull on it and hold that tension there. Okay, now I'm going to take my peg winder, put it on here, and again, start turning it the same direction so it's winding the same direction as these two. And I'm going to turn that. Make sure the loose end here is above the end that's going to go to the neck of the guitar. So right about there, again, keep the tension on. Don't just let it go. I kind of pull that and notch it in so it's just hanging, but I'm still keeping my tension here on this one that I'm holding with my right hand. And now just keep turning. And as you're turning, watch those windings and make sure they're going down under each other as they wind. You don't want it going up. You want it to go down so that the break angle, as it's called, of the string coming off the nut is as low as possible. Okay, so just keep turning. This is kind of a tedious process here. Keep that tension on the string. Don't take your hand out of there. Keep turning, keep turning. Okay, obviously it's going to get to the point right about now where my hand's stuck, or almost. But again, you want to keep this tension on the string. You don't want to just take your hand out or everything's going to go psh, and it'll probably sound like that too, and come loose off of the tuning peg. So what you want to do, take your left hand, grab this string, keep that tension on it, lift it up, pull your hand out, reach back around, grab it again. So you're keeping that tension on there, but now your hand's out, and then just take our winder, keep winding, keep winding, keep winding, and we're going to go right down and drop it into the slot. and tune that right up till roughly, you know, where you think it's about pitch. All right, guys, so here we are. I'm going to do the 5th string from up above so you guys can get a different view of how this is done. All right, so 5th string, here we go. Again, I'm going to unwind with my winder here. Maybe about 7 turns or so. What I like to do is make sure that the hole, I just leave off right where that's going this way, so I know when I go to restring, it's ready to go. So that's usually what I'm looking for. Right about there, that's just pretty much all you need. Again, you can use your bridge pin puller if you need it. Most of the time, you're not going to, though. What I do is I'll just take the string, push it down in, and then you can usually just grab that with your hand and take it right out, okay? And then here we go. We're coming up here. We're just going to unwind, take that off the rest of the way, get rid of that string. Okay, now coming back down here, like we said before, I take my Big Ben's Nutsauce. I'm just going to go just a dot right there on the saddle where that sits across. And again, make sure you check out my other video on using Big Ben's after you string up in the nut here, which is a whole other process, and I religiously tell people to do that. Again, that's where 90% of your problems are coming from with tuning. Okay, so we got the red ball end for the 5th. Again, I'm going to find the notch here that's in the end right by the ball end. I want the part that's kind of sticking up, and that's the part I want going up. And then as that's up, I'm just going to kind of notch it right there over my thumb, put a little kink in it like that, and that's it. Okay, now coming back down here, again, I'm just going to go right in that direction, put it into my saddle, put the pin with the notch facing towards the string over the top of that, and then just kind of push it down in. And again, you don't want to force it, and you can kind of feel it slip. So the string shouldn't be moving hardly at all. The pin should be sliding over it. And there you go. And you'll kind of see a little bit of the notch coming up there. Again, always keep the tension on. That's very important on both the bridge end and the tuning peg end. Okay, so come up here, keep your tension on the string, go through the peg head. Okay, now again, we want to come down here, keep our hand in here so we get the slack, bring this loose end back towards us, grab it, and then we want to take our peg winder. We want this to go the same direction as the other one. Start winding as you get right about here, and you can kind of feel the tension on both of them. You can take the loose end and notch it, pull it back, and just bend it into place like that. And then if you have to, even like press down on this part. But again, always keep that tension on there. We want the windings to go down as they're coming onto the tuning peg. So keep going, go under the previous winding, keep going, go under the previous winding. Okay, I can start to feel it getting tight on my hand now. Make sure you don't just pull it out. Notch that back if you have to, the loose end. Hold that so you've got the tension on it. Get your hand out of there, reach around, grab it again. Always keep that tension on there and just finish up. Wind, wind, wind. Drop her right down into the slot. And there we go. That's the 5th string. Okay, let's do the 4th. Same way. We're going to unwind a few times just till it's loose. Make sure that hole's lined up how we want the string. That's about good. Come down here. Push the string down in a little bit. You can feel it release. Pull the peg out. Your string is free. Unwind it from the peg. There we go. All right, so now we're just keep repeating that. 4th string, here we go. We got Big Ben's Nutsauce right there on the saddle. Black is our color for our 4th string on daddario. Daddario. I'm probably forever going to mispronounce that. So there's our black ball end for the 4th string. Again, we want to find our notch that's sticking up. Kink it back a little bit right there. Come down here with our peg. Go right over that. Keep the string about where it is. Feel the peg slide right over the ball end. There you go. Come up here. Go through the hole in the tuning peg. Put our hand underneath there. Pull this back. Hold both ends. Start tightening that up while we keep the pressure on, tension on, whatever you want to call it. Kink that back when you get a little bit going, and then just keep that tension on. Wind that around. You can get really, really, really quick at this once you've done it a few times. Keep that pressure on. Get your hand out. And there you go. Keep tightening that up. Drop her right into the slot. Okay. So now this is a little bit different. We're on this side. Again, this is a Martin guitar, Gibson, like a J45. Most, of your acoustics, Taylor and all that, have this kind of setup with the 3 and 3. I do have a Martin that we're going to do an episode on that has like the 6 in a row tuners. So those all get wound the same direction, of course. But with these, you want the windings on these 3 going that way, and on these 3, of course, going that way. So if you're new at this, you've never done it before, just kind of look at the direction the other strings are going in. All right, so with this one, same thing. We're going to start with the 4th, loosen it up here a little bit until that hole's lined up where the string goes. Pull up on that a little bit, come down here to our bridge, push it down in, pull out the pin. So pretty much all the same stuff here. Get the string off. Bigbendsnutsauce down here right on the saddle where the string sits. Again, that's not super important, but it doesn't hurt. It eliminates wear and tear on the saddle there. And I just believe any contact point of the string should have this stuff. So that's not as important. You can get away with probably doing that even like every other change or something. I do it every one just to be safe. It's certainly not going to hurt. Big one here, hence the term Bigbendsnutsauce. That's really why this stuff was invented and what it's mainly for, and where 90% of your hang-ups are going. So check out my other video on that. Okay, but getting back to the string change, we're on the green ball end here, which is string number 3, or G for daddario. Find that notch. This is still a wound string. Kink it right there. Come down here. Go right into the bridge, put the pin over, slide it down. Again, go ahead and comment, you guys, if you have any questions at all. I'm just kind of repeating here, but it's basically the same thing on all 6 strings. Okay, go through the post. The only thing different about this is, like we said, you have to go to this side now. So you want to you always want to pull this loose end back to the side that you're winding towards. So we want to go this way on these windings. So we're going to pull the string back this way. Get it right into your hand, grab both ends, keep that pressure on. This is a little bit different because now you're using your left hand to tighten this up. Go around a little bit like that. You can feel it tighten up, kink the string, pull it back like that, keep your pressure on, and then just keep on winding down. No fancy windings, no luthiers, no we'll call this a coffee knot. Okay, so we have a coffee knot. Maybe I just invented something there. So this is a coffee knot. Tell people you use the coffee knot. So, no fancy windings. I don't believe in them. And I'm starting to hear, more and more techs working for big names saying, that they're figuring out you don't really need that. It's binding and something somewhere else that's causing the tuning problem. All these fancy over, under, wrap, push, pull, back. It's not hurting, but it's not really helping. So all you're really doing by doing that, if you got a lot of times I got a gig I got to get to. I didn't have time to change my strings. I got to get new ones on. Boom, boom, boom. I don't have time to be undoing a Boy Scout knot on the tuning peg. I got to get this thing off. So to me, the less you have around there, tight to the peg, wrapped real tight, right on there, that's all you need. No fancy knots. Okay, so let's keep going here and get this done. We're going to unwind the 2nd string. Same deal we've been doing. Loosened it up. Pull the peg out. Get rid of this string. Okay, so we're on string number 2 now with this, the B string, and that's a purple ball end on daddario. Okay, well, I got it right a couple times in a row. Daddario. I'm proud of myself. Okay, so as you get down to the unwound plain steel like this, you don't really have, it's a different type of a notch. So with these, just it doesn't really matter. You don't need to look for that notch going up because you don't have the winding, so the notches aren't as big. So pretty much just anywhere you want to, just right where that notch meets the unnotched area, wound meets the unwound area, I should be saying. You want to just kind of kink it back a little bit like that, so it's got a bend. Same deal as before. Come down here, push it in, put your peg in there, feel it slip right over the top of that. There we go. And that's good. Okay, come on up here to the second peg, go through the hole. Same deal, put your hand under, pull it back, keep the tension on, hold both ends. Start turning a little bit. You get a little bit around about one turn. Grab the loose end, kink it back. Make sure you keep your pressure on that string and just wind, and always make sure those windings are going underneath the previous winding. That's the real important part there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, now it's like we did before, as you kind of feel that starting to tighten up on your hand. Get your hand out of there, hold it with this one, keep that tension on, throw the right hand back under, and keep going down right into the slot there. All right. Last one. We're on our high E string here. Same deal as the other 5. Loosen it up. Get the pin out of here. All right. Come down here. Put some bigbendsnutsauce on the slot of the bridge saddle there. Same deal with the high E. We don't really have that thick of a winding, so we're just going to kink it wherever. Come down here with our pin, push that down in, kaboom, there we go. Come back up here to the top, right through the high E peg, hand under, pull the loose end back the same way the windings go. Hold both ends, start turning around here, keep the tension on. Kink it back when you get about halfway around. This one, you can kind of even like pull it off to the side here a little bit because you're at the end. So you're making sure those windings go low as they're going around and not up the post. Down for our break angle. We want it as low as can be. And that's why I love this winder here, this Grip 1 from musicnomad. The best string winder I've ever used, hands down. It's got the huge ball bearing. It, you know, turns real nice, fits over any tuners. It's just fantastic. Okay, keeping our pressure on there. And there we go. String into the slot. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We are strung up now. Okay, guys, so for the next part of this, what we're going to do, I clipped on a snark tuner. This is what I use at all my shows. I think we all use snark. They're the cheapest out there, but yet the best quality, and they work very well, extremely accurate. Okay, so what you're going to do, I just put the strings on like you guys saw me do. You know, that's pretty much the end of that, as much as we can do. But now, this is an important part too. You've got to stretch these out. So what I do, there's string stretchers you can buy and all this kind of stuff, and that's fine. But what I do is up here around like the 3rd or 4th fret, I pull it on each string. So pull that, pull, 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 pull. And then I come down here to pretty much like almost the end of the fretboard, definitely past the 12th, and just kind of pull up on each one there. Nothing crazy, but just pull it till you feel it, you know, tense up and stop. Okay, and then I come back here. Obviously, I don't normally have the tuner clipped on like this. I have it facing the camera just so you can kind of see for this video. Okay, you want to bring that up to an E or roughly, because we're going to stretch these again. So it doesn't really matter if it's extremely accurate just yet. D, G here on our 3rd string. B on our 2nd, and E on our 1st. Okay, so that's ballpark where we're at. Stretch them out again. Do the same thing. Pull, pull, pull. I do this for about 4 cycles and pull through all 6 up here and down here. Okay, now check your tuning. See, we're flat again. We went down to D sharp. So now we got to go back up to E, back up to A, back up to D. This is extremely important before you put Big Ben's nut sauce on in the nut, because if it's already tuned up, or I'm sorry, I'm saying that backwards, and they're not stretched out, and you put the nut sauce in, you're stretching, retuning, stretching, retuning, stretching, retuning. By the time you get done, you might see a chunk of Big Ben's nut sauce like up here. Someone's just completely moved it out of the nut. So you gotta make sure these are stretched out big time before you put any of the nut sauce in. Okay, let's do it again. Pull, pull, pull on all of these. 6 up here, and then let's go up high. Pull on all 6 of those. Check our tuning again. We're getting better. It didn't stretch out as much, but we want to get that up to E, get that up to ballpark A, D. G is still good. B is still good. So you can see we're starting to lose some of the detuniness, if that's a word. It's not going quite as low when we stretch these out, and that's what you want. You want to get to the point where you finally stretch them and it doesn't really move. So see that E keeps on going low on us. A went low. D's still pretty good, a little bit low. G, B, and E. Yep, B's a little bit flat. And the E. Okay. Let's do this one more time, especially here on these thicker strings like the low E and the A and the D for sure. We definitely want to hit those. Okay, so our low E's right about done now. That didn't move very much. The A's good to go. The D moved. We're going to bring that back up. G's good to go. B's good to a little bit flat. There we go. And then our high E is good to go. Okay. So that's pretty much what you want to do before you put the Big Ben's nut sauce in. I'm going to do a video now all about Big Ben's, which is a whole separate thing. Please check that out. I'm going to put the links in both. So definitely check out my next video on that. I'm putting Big Ben's nut sauce in. You guys have to use this stuff up here in the nut. I'm telling you, it will solve 90% of your tuning problems. So definitely check them out. When you finally do get that in, I usually just go back down here very lightly, just with your thumb, just kind of go, nothing crazy. You don't have to be forced. Just push, make sure those are in place, and you're good. The tension is what's holding these pins in. You don't need to go crazy with pliers or even your thumb. You don't need to just go nuts pushing that down. Just press on them. And there you go. That's it. Okay, so check out my Big Ben's video, you guys, and that's pretty much how I change a string. No fancy windings, no Luthier's knot. We just have the coffee knot, which is not a knot, which just wrapped around the strings, and that's how we do it. Okay, guys, so there is the string change on this beautiful Martin D28. Sounds beautiful. Like I said, we got Big Ben's nut sauce in here that we added, and it's just fantastic, not going out of tune at all. This thing is just a cannon. Just rings out tried and true. And like I said, if you've never tried the Daddario nickel bronze strings, check them out because they are just fantastic. My favorite string on the market, hands down right now, so check them out. Thanks so much, you guys, for checking in. Please hit that subscribe button. As always, go ahead and comment. Let me know what you guys think. What strings do you use? Do you have a different method for doing it? Have you found that the Boy Scout knots, as I like to call them, a Luthier's knot, whatever that is helping you? I found it never did. It's just a hindrance and it gets in the way. So, you know, let me know. But anyways, you guys, thanks for checking in. Find us on Facebook at toddbeebemusic. And we will see you guys again. We always post content weekly, so thank you so much for being with us. Stay safe and love your dogs. Take care.